Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bear's Cave. Today's video is probably going to be displeasing to some, but bear with it, stay with it till the end. I'm Bob, your host, as always. Welcome back. Thank you for watching. This is a definition of the word bigotry. Bigotry, obtuse or narrow-minded intolerance, especially of other ethnic backgrounds or religions. Alright, so that covers it pretty good, doesn't it? Now, we all know who this guy is. Now, first and foremost, let's get something understood. What happened to him was wrong. Exceedingly wrong. I condone it in no way, shape, or form. I do not either condone this guy's actions, his demeanor, not on that day, just in general. Near as I can figure out, doing an hour and a half of research on the dark web, this guy's a punk thug. Did he deserve to die? No. However, that entire incident started because this guy tried to pass off a phony $20 bill. His arrest record goes back to 1985. Georgie boy here having been born in 1973. So that means his criminal career started at the age of 12. Possibly earlier. Why do I say that? His first arrest was at age 12. That's why I say that. Now, just recently, like yesterday, I was hearing about some riots and shootings and killings at some center or something of that nature. Because of an argument breaking out about George here. Okay, now, since his death, the Nazi-controlled media, which means that if they're controlled by the Nazis, which they are, that would make them propaganda producers. And that means the propaganda producers are marketing bigotry. Why do I say that? 4 persons of different skin hue presumably killed this guy. I say presumably because I don't know factually. I do know Chauvin has been found guilty. However, that was because of political motives. One day Maxine Waters comes out and says something about y'all should do this, yada yada, and you feel guilty if you don't. Guess what? 18 hours later, Chauvin is found guilty. So it was a tainted verdict. Is Derek Chauvin guilty? I don't know. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I do say what happened to this guy was not proper. Okay. Now look at all the marches, riot, mark anniversary of George Floyd's death in Portland. Okay. And this is from yesterday. 3:41 in the afternoon yesterday. All right, people were killed because the media, propaganda producers, are marketing this guy's death. Now, I've also learned that the Department of Justice has indicted all 4 officers, or at least 3 of them, on federal charges. Is that a good thing? Yes. But it also means something else. Because of whom is presumably in charge right now, even though that's illegitimate, more than likely Derek Chauvin still will not get a proper, fair trial. If conservatives / Republicans were in office right now, would Derek Chauvin get a fair trial? Probably not. Probably not. Would it be different? Oh yes. Indeed, completely different. This case kind of reminds me of the case against the presumed conspirators in the Abraham Lincoln murder. And no, I'm not kidding, folks. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Excuse the flakiness here. Anyway, 1865, April 14th, Abraham Lincoln was killed, murdered by one man, but not the man you think. And that coincides with this Derek Chauvin / George Floyd case. Why? There was huge riots all over the nation. All over the nation. Now, things that I have learned over the years of what happened to Abraham Lincoln doesn't coincide with what's in the history books. And until somebody forces the issue, it never will. A fellow by the name of Edwin Stanton. He was Secretary of War back then, now known as Secretary of State. Okay? He absolutely despised, and I mean despised, Abraham Lincoln with a passion. He had a bigotry for Abraham Lincoln that would rival what we're seeing today of what used to be the Democrat Party towards Republicans. Why are they doing this? I don't know. The only thing that makes any sense is a vie or a grab for power and ultimate control of everybody, not just in the United States, but everybody on the planet. Okay? And I do believe there's maybe a half a dozen ringleaders, and the top of the heap on that is a fellow by the name of Jacob de Rothschilds. His family has been running nations and continents since the mid 1600s. Now we come back to what I was talking about with, gosh, I wish I could remember their names. Anyway, it was Mary, her son's friend, John Wilkes Booth was involved. Okay, the whole thing was a setup by Edward Stanton. He attempted to take out the four men above him so that he could become President of the United States and sit in the Oval Office. Hence a grab for power. And he was a self-confessed deviant progressive. Why do I say deviant? We haven't got enough time in this particular video to go into that. That'll be later. Anyway, now we get back to George Floyd. Like I said, at age 12, it's the first time that I can find that he was arrested. He died at the age of 46. So that's 34 years of criminal activity and history. Alright? He's been in and out of prison. He was actually implicated in not one, not two, but 5 rapes. Never convicted, but he was a definite interest to the police. The incident when he was 12 years old is he saw a lady, another black lady, and this African American crap, knock it off, that's stupid. Unless you were born in Africa, you're not African American. You're American, possibly of African descent. Excuse me. Anyway, he saw this elderly lady, probably my age at the time, and I'm 60, walking down the street with a nice big fat purse. He made a U-turn, made what they call a dash, stole her purse and ran down the street. Fortunately, a couple of persons noticed what happened, stopped him, and they arrested him. He spent something like, I think it was 2 months in the local juvenile detention center, and they let him out. And this is part of the problem with the society of this country today. We don't properly punish those that do wrong. Right now, all over this nation, because of political reasons and bigotry, illegals from all over the world are being cut loose on things as heinous as sexual assault, and yes, even accused of murder. They're being released to go out and do it again because they're political pawns. George Floyd, right now, even though he's deceased, his death is being marketed as bigotry. Was it bigotry that killed him? I have no clue. I'm sure, I guarantee you, emotions were involved greatly. That was quite apparent from the video that was shown, what was it, a year and a half ago, whatever it was. First, know this. If you find somebody that says, and I quote, "I have no bigotry in me," that's a lie. Everybody's bigoted in some way, shape, or form. Do I have bigotry? Oh yeah. And I have a reason for it. Is it a correct reason? Who's to say? Not me. I don't know. Who is my bigotry against? That is between me and God. God knows whom I have issue with. And I'll leave it there. But this George Floyd thing, or any, like the little black girl that was recently killed by a cop, 16-year-old, holding a knife, about to stab another teenage black girl with that big slicing knife. I mean, that thing was 10 inches if it was an inch. She was going to gut that little girl. So that officer should be highly commended for saving the other girl's life. And who's to say that the girl that got shot would have stopped with her? There's no guarantee on that. And all of it is being marketed by the propaganda producers as so horrid and torrid, and this stuff like this should never happen. As if these people, and I say that for a reason, I'll get to it in a minute, are exalted in some way, shape, or form. Now we're getting to the real point of this. All of this is by a greater design, by people more than likely you've never heard of, you don't know of, and will never ever see. There are some, maybe 12 people that actually run the entire planet. Alright? And right now, the U.S. is slated, if you will, for division. Not to diversify, but to divide. And how do you conquer anything? You divide the forces. If you divide the forces, they get confused as to what's going on, and you can slide right on down in the middle and take care of both sides at the same time. It's called the enemy within. The division of our country right now is based solely on bigotry, and it appears to be pushing an ethnic war. Is it between blacks and whites? No. Well, let's just say that the anger is so thick right now, you need probably a plasma cutter to cut through it. That's how high the tensions are right now, and it's being deliberately caused. Proof of that was that 16-year-old girl and George Floyd, and there's been others. In that same time frame, there have been people of my skin hue murdered by police officers of Mexican/Hispanic, Black, Oriental. Are they all victims? Why don't we hear anything about them? Because it doesn't sell papers or televised reports. Bigotry is the #1 cause of division in this country right now. And it goes so far as to this. Bigotry and hatred caused the fiasco in 2020. Think about that on that for just a moment. Do me a favor, if you will, down here at the bottom, way down here, all across here. Like, subscribe, share. If you want to hit the notification button, please do. Remember, we always appreciate your viewing, visiting our channel. We don't have a whole lot of followers right now. I hope to change that swiftly. God bless to y'all. Y'all take care and have a great week and better weekend.